Let me introduce you to the unexpected star witness in the George Floyd murder trial. Because the exact time and the exact cause of Floyd's death are still unclear, there's a limit to the facts that the jury can consider. And so the jury will be instructed at some point or appealed to by both sides. It's now time to take into account the character of the men in the case. And so the prosecution will talk emotionally, and it will be powerfully emotionally, with tears and shouting, about the shallow moral character of the accused policeman. And the defense will talk emotionally about the shallow moral character of the dead suspect. And what this means is that the star witness in this trial, for both sides, is not a person, but it's an idea, the concept and the definition of high moral character. And so you're going to be hearing really impassioned reasons as to why George Floyd does not have it, doesn't have high moral character, and angry, tearful, emotional reasons as to why Officer Chauvin does not have it and never had it. And why the defense attorneys, you'll be hearing this too from both sides, why the defense attorneys don't have it, and why the prosecuting attorneys don't have it and may themselves have committed crimes of prosecutorial misconduct. And so, will this star witness right here, this idea, accurately define high moral character in the way that it is meant to be defined? Or is that simply too much to imagine? It was not that long ago that the content of personal character was measured in terms of moral integrity, dependability, honor, virtue, and ethical reliability. Character was that ultimate habit of will that children were supposed to learn when they were young and then live the rest of their lives by, in private and in public, 24 hours a day. Historian Warren Sussman once researched the rise and fall of this idea about character and how Americans use the term character. He said America once embodied a total culture of character. And he discovered in his research that during the 1800s, character was a key vocabulary word. And men were spoken of course, as having strong or weak character, good or bad character, a great deal of character or no character at all. Young people were admonished to cultivate high character when they were young and to cultivate noble character while they were young. And they were repeatedly told that character was the most priceless thing on which they would build their reputations and their lives. Now, starting at the beginning of the 20th century, Sussman found a shift. He found that the ideal of character began to be replaced by the ideal of personality and the idea of personality. Selfish personal fulfillment became more important than personal sacrifice. And so the court in the Floyd murder trial may not hear a sound witness of what high moral character really is, but rather complaints about how Floyd should not have been so addicted to drugs and irresponsibility and lying to police and overdosing and hiding evidence by overdosing some more. And there will be complaints and whining also about how Chauvin should not have been so callous and unfeeling and inconsiderate and hateful and racist. And the attorneys will doubtless cast similar kinds of accusations at each other's dishonest manipulation of fact in order to confuse the jury. So what the jury may see and hear then is very, very little about high moral character and a whole lot about low immoral character. The jury will likely then get very angry when they discover just how much evidence has been withheld from them by the state's dream team of high-rolling lawyers from around the nation. The jury will thus be left, and this is not how trials like these should be run. They're going to be left high and dry without a whole lot to work with. They'll have to be making decisions about murder and negligence and intent and causation and motive based on the apparent reality that no one in this story has reliable moral character. It's going to be very, very hard for them to trust the attorneys on either side. And so history is very likely to be decided for this trial on the question of flawed deficiencies, which men in the courtroom might not have the worst moral character. The jury's in a really difficult situation. They'll be presented with the sad fact that the story here about both men, both Floyd and Chauvin, were miserable men, with tragic and unhappy lives. The cop has an officer complaint record. He has personal debt. He has problems of his own with the law, big problems with both state and federal law. The jury will hear that the suspect has a violent crime record, of course, and a drug overdose record, and spent his last day passing counterfeit money and riding around in a car with a drug dealer. They will learn that the state is perverting justice by working overtime to obstruct justice and to get a political outcome in order to please violent mobs and the political left. And of course, the jury will hear additional facts, things that they may never have heard about, like the Eighth Circuit ruling that knee restraints to the neck are not lethal, but that fentanyl is, and how it is lethal. The defense attorney, okay, can they trust him? Or will he just be simply trying to get Chauvin off? Of course, he's being paid by the police union and may himself be lawlessly mercenary, disinterested in justice, determined only to score a victory for the client, whatever the cost, in terms of truth and justice. That's not good character either, is it? Okay, so it's down to the jury. Where can we find character in this story? Do they have character to bring justice to this show trial? Do they have the moral discipline, the moral judgment, the moral will to do the right and the just thing and the ethical thing? When they were being selected for jury duty, was the judge looking for men and women who were just and had good judgment, or were those people rejected for others? And so will the entire courtroom now be judged by history as being devoid of good character all around? Does anyone have the character quality of courage in this story? Or will they all prove to be fearful, terrified to do anything but what is politically safe? Since when have any of the jury members, and did the judge try to find this out, did any of them ever have the experience of having pushed against resistance and opposition to form strength of character? Have they ever exercised freedom of thought? Have they ever evaluated justice on the basis of a higher moral law? Or might the ones who are selected send Officer Chauvin to prison for life based on the color of his skin? Now, you've all heard this quote from Martin Luther King Jr. "I have a dream that my 4 little children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character." And so judgment is a good and healthy thing. We want to be judged by the right things. All of us need to judge moral issues morally at all times, using our moral discrimination and character to recognize right and wrong, good and evil, good guys and bad guys, and then to stand up bravely for what's right. So what are the chances, last question here, what are the chances that the people in this court and the jury members can reintroduce the concept of character to a lawless nation? Well, I believe there is a chance. Now, we haven't seen the outcome yet, but I think there's a chance. Here's my recommendation to all of you who are watching this carefully. Keep your eye on the black male jury members. I'm Geoffrey Botkin. If content like this helps you think through the issues of your time, please do subscribe and share. Thank you very much.